I may as well have fucking popped out of a sauna with how sweaty I am right now. This is this is not the color of this shirt. You know, this part is. The rest of it's fucking soaked. I was getting a little bit extra amped up, so instead of 30 minutes of cardio, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. Especially for the last week-ish of the diet, I'm locking my ass in. I'm talking 1 hour. I'm talking 1 hour of the seated bike. Heart rate fluctuating between about 150 and 160-ish beats per minute. Brought to you by this little doohickey right here. That's kind of cool to see. The idea of like tracking your heart rate when you're doing the cardio, the whole time, it hasn't really like jumped out at me to the point where I'm like, I want to get like when I do my cardio, I don't slap my hands on the two little like electric sensors to see my heart rate the whole time. But when it's just sitting there on your wrist, it is kind of cool. And then that keeps you from going easy because I can see when my heart starts to dip down below into like the 140s. I'm like, okay, let's pick up the pace here. But yeah, I definitely feel like I just did an hour of cardio. So let's run through some post cardio posing. And whoever commented this, yeah, you are definitely technically right. I am slightly more pumped looking right now than I would have been before that cardio, just from the fucking effect of sweating my ass off the whole time and getting my heart pumping extra. It's just a little more, I'm probably just a little bit extra veiny. Not by any crazy margin like an actual real arm pump, but definitely just a touch. So let's adjust the zoom in here, run through a couple classics. But even though I'm not like at my perfectly unactive state per se, like I'm a little extra freaky from the cardio, this is a really good representation of how I actually look. And this is something I want you to keep in mind, is that's what you should be used to and judging your progress based on, at least as a bottom line per se. You know, when I finish legs today and I've got a big ass leg pump and I feel like I'm fucking walking around with tree trunks, that's extra cool. But don't forget, that's extra cool. You know, my legs look how they look unpumped, as below these fucking drenched sweats. I need to start bringing a change of clothes. I'm gonna be so fucking uncomfortable in the car. But let's run through some stuff here. Okay, let's get some vacuum action and some finishing thoughts. Holy shit. Oh, it's fucking hard to hold a vacuum, man, especially after already being out of breath from the cardio. And if I could, I don't even want to put this fucking thing on. Whatever. So if I could give you a tip for working on your vacuum, this is going to be more so kind of directed towards anybody in the leaner demographic. You know, if you got a little bit too much body fat on you, it might not be worth thinking about. But, you know, whatever. So, we'll wait for this for a second. The basic premise, and the reason why before every pose I sit here and I go, is I'm trying to completely empty out my lungs, at least as much as I can, so that they're not fucking literally extra big in my whole chest internal cavity. Because what do you think that does? It kind of makes it harder for me to suck my stomach up, If I try to get a deep breath, I can't even do a fucking vacuum, right? So that's where blowing all the air out of your lungs first. And then I'm trying to imagine how I don't even think about it now. I just kind of do it. Like, what am I trying to feel? It's like, it's almost like I'm trying to pull my mid abs in and up, like under my fucking ribs. It's kind of a tricky thing to just explain like that. Once you start doing it, that's really what's going to kind of give you an actual idea of what it feels like. But it's well, now I just want to do one more something or other just to get a slightly better idea. Okay. Yeah, that's enough. I was about to say something, like I had something I wanted to say, but now I forget it. Either way, an extra 30 minutes of cardio done to counteract the fact that you did not do any today, which, not good, man. Not good. And I'm not going to be soft on you. You really need to start doing your fucking cardio. And once you do it for long enough, you're going to realize I'm not telling you to do it for no reason, right? But let's not make this a cardio rant. Let's get in the car and head to the gym. This will be way later today. I might even take a nap. Okay, I actually lied to you. I am not just going to leave. I've got a few more things to say about cardio. So if you got a little sigh of relief, like, oh, thank God, Sam's not going to talk about cardio to me for 20 minutes. You're wrong. You're wrong. Get ready for it. It's coming. But one thing that helps me, I'll say this, I'm going to change my approach here a little, because usually I just rip on you for not doing it. That's not really that nice, and honestly, that doesn't really make you any more motivated to do it. You can't just push stuff like that. But I will say this, for me specifically, I like to do the cardio. For one thing, because I know that it's gonna fucking be good for me, and it's gonna play into my training, and it's just gonna fucking let me be leaner. I'm dieting down, so I did a little extra today. But the main component there, which actually gets me going to do it, is the fact that I know that it's a part of my training. So if it's a fucking key component to something that I really like and that I really want to keep doing and keep getting better at, then for one thing, just regardless of like my actual thoughts, that's the best fucking move to actually making the gains that I want, regardless of whether I like it or if I don't like it. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a fucking necessity, right? I talk about the big three when it comes to your training: sleep, the weight training itself, and then the food. Cardio gets like a half finger. Guys get big, they get gains, no cardio, but I think they're missing out. The cardio is a little bit of an extra sugary something or other on top, which, what's an ice cream sundae without a fucking banana in the middle or whatever? So for me, I get excited about it. I don't just sit there and pedal away mindlessly. I'm playing the same kind of like hype up music, metal, rap, everything that I listen to when I'm working out. And I do that when I do the cardio too. I'm getting kind of excited. I'm getting pumped up. Now, of course, that's coupled with playing some Clash Royale as a little bit of a self-distractor. I've kind of got a little bit of a triple rotation, be it YouTube videos, TikTok, any sort of Reels-based thing, and just playing fucking phone games. And 30 minutes disappears like nothing, guys, So, apart from the fact that it's a part of my training, so I'm going to try my damnedest to be excited about it, which now I don't really have to try, I just am excited about it. It's just, kind of just comes down to how bad you want results, right? And even if I'm not feeling it, even if I'm like, oh shit, I gotta fucking do XYZ at 8 o'clock, I gotta wake up early and go do my cardio, I can't just go whenever I want. Doing things that make you a touch uncomfortable, the comfort, the fun part of that is in the future after you have done it. You know, that sensation of relief, like, oh, I did it. And even at the smallest levels of like just whatever, you know, that sensation is pretty fucking ubiquitous, if that's the right fucking word. And what I mean by that is, you know, doing anything which you don't necessarily get direct enjoyment from, but you will get sort of delayed gratification from. That's a really good use of your fucking time. And I'm not the best at that. A lot of the times when I say these little kind of motivational sort of lifestyle shit, uh, that's I'm also talking to myself. You know I should be doing a lot more stuff where it's just kind of workish, set myself up for later, which I'm trying to do. But things like cardio, it's definitely not as fun as an arm day. It's definitely not as fucking crazy intense and exciting as a crazy heavy leg day. It's I don't get a pump like I do from a badass chest day. So I mean, you're right. The act of doing the cardio, it's not that immediately fun. But if you're a guy who has been doing his cardio consistently for the last year, the last 6 months, even the last 1 month, you're going to start to notice some differences, you know? Right? The guy who's driving around in a fancy pants, clean car, because every week he details it, he probably feels pretty cool, you know? He's not like me with 20 Gatorade bottles in the passenger seat footrest and an empty bag of sheets. A good little example of something I should fucking deal with right now. But that's what I'm trying to say, you know. Delayed gratification, if you can get that a little bit more deeply engraved into your mind and your approach to shit, it is going to pay off. That's literally the whole point of anything that's related to delayed gratification is the fact that you're doing something for the payoff later on. You know, so don't get too locked into anything that's purely for immediate enjoyment. Right? That's one thing I'm trying to work on. Not just sitting on my phone swiping away an hour a day. And it's not an hour a day, it's much fucking longer. I gotta just delete. I gotta delete some apps for sure. But just think about it. Just something to think about. Because, oh yeah, well, I was about to say this. So try not to do anything that's just purely for immediate, instant gratification. I'm not saying don't fucking have some ice cream or something. You know what I'm kind of talking about. And definitely don't do anything that is essentially paying for this gratification now by being discomforted later. You know, I'm talking the classic prison tattoo, laugh now, cry later. That's a bad approach. That is a bad approach, man. And an immediate situation that comes to mind, you know, not to make anybody uncomfortable, but you know, if you're drinking on the regular, you know that you're paying for it on the regular because you wake up, you kind of just feel like shit. Your sleep quality was pretty rough. You know, I doubt you're getting too much REM. I mean, you know, alcohol doesn't give you deeper sleep. It just makes you go to sleep or, you know, sleep easier. Right? That's kind of a classic use case of anybody who's really dependent in a way. And then long term, man, come on, you know. So I'm not your life coach. You can do whatever the hell you want. But I'll just tell you, you're not going to catch me sipping on a what's a cool drink? What's cool? Either way, you're not going to catch me sipping on anything because I want to feel good in the morning when I do my cardio and then translate that to a badass pump later on in the evening. So do with that information what you will. But no more cardio rants. I'll free you from that little discomfort. Let's fast forward to a few hours from now before I go and hit legs. Before I go and thrash my freaking legs. So I guess I'll see you right here, but later. A lot of energy, a lot of time going into this post-workout meal, but that'll be elaborated after legs. It's now the end of an extremely clear and warm day. Made some use of some natural vitamin production by way of laying out in the sun for a little bit. I mean, you gotta remember, That's a weird way to phrase it, but you are more than likely not getting enough sun exposure to have adequate amounts of vitamin D in your system. And I think we both know that. And that's not even me calling you out specifically. That's just based on statistics. You know, a certain percentage of fucking Americans, they're simply they're in a goddamn vitamin D deficit. You know, or a is that what you call it? A vitamin D deficit? Deficiency. But same thing. So another perfectly fucking applicable reason that you should be supplementing. You know, I'm sure my diet has more than enough iron from all the red meats that I eat, and I'm trying to think of some other kind of name or like mainstream sort of vitamins and minerals. But whatever, you know. So I'm sure that I'm definitely hitting my marks on like my calcium and my sodium and my fucking iron and everything, whatever. But I still take my fucking multivitamin at the end of the day, just to kind of fill in the cracks. Right? That's the whole point. Now, I'm not for any health nut guru guy where this is your shit. Look, yeah, I'm gonna be better off eating more potatoes and starches in my diet and fucking bananas to get my potassium intake completely naturally through a whole food source. I'm dieting down right now. I'm not gonna be slamming, 200 grams of carbs worth of potatoes. At least not right now. So even if your shit is to really hit all your micronutrient needs through your diet, you may have to adjust those just because you're not going to be able to eat as much food as may be required for you, to hit those, to get enough fucking dietary potassium or calcium or, whatever, I don't know. So that's where I just played safe. I think if you take your multivitamin at the end of the day with 2 servings of fish oil and your creatine, you're good to go. That's kind of my nightly vitamin cup. But where the hell was I going to go with that? But yeah, so I can guarantee that if you got your blood work done and you checked all your panels for your, vitamins and nutrients or whatever else, you've got some fucking deficiencies, man. Everybody does. So that's where I say just fucking play it safe. You don't even have to get them as a pill either. Just get some fucking multivitamin gummies. And then you get a little bit of a treat before you go to bed, So that's my stance there. That's a perfectly good way to just minutely improve your gains and just your quality of life too, I'm not going to take my vitamins and say, holy fuck, dude, this men's multivitamin is kicking in. But I know all the processes going on in my body are going to be a little bit more just in tune with each other because I've got enough of all the basic ingredients per se to get everything done. If you sort of follow my logic there. But enough of that. Pre-workout meal was just 2 packets of instant oatmeal, which I had like 45 minutes ago-ish. 50 grams of carbs, 3 grams of fat. It says like 6 grams of protein. I'm not necessarily inclined to count that towards my protein goal, just because it's not a complete source. If you look at the protein grading scale, things like meats, fish, chicken, animal products, eggs, milk, those protein sources are complete. You're getting all the essential amino acids necessary for muscle growth and development. Whereas, things like soy proteins and bean proteins and fucking, I'm pretty sure tofu is actually pretty good. If you're slamming tofu, I would count that for sure. But it's all on a grading scale. A steak is basically like A plus. It's got everything you fucking need. Plus, it's jam-packed with all sorts of, I forget if it's saturated or unsaturated fats. I can't remember the difference, which one's good or bad. But it's full of shit. Good shit, that is. Nutrients, everything else. Why do you think all these carnivore guys are freaking out about red meats? It's because it's a really good fucking food. You could be running on just red meat alone, and you would be feeling pretty good. I'll say that much. But, yeah, so as you go down on that grading scale in terms of quality, which is an overall kind of just basic grade based on different factors such as how many amino acids are in the food, how absorbable are they, Like things like egg whites straight out of cracked straight out of the shell. Sure, I mean those are complete amino acid arrays or chains or whatever, but they're all kind of bound up together. You can't actually digest the whole thing. You can digest about half a gram of a raw egg white. That's the only reason I kind of stopped drinking egg whites is because I thought I was getting 50 grams of protein, but really I was only getting 25. So just all sorts of things like that are kind of taken into account in that process. So stick towards the things that are a little bit higher on the grading scale. But enough diet talk. Plan for legs is as follows: hamstrings first, probably a variation, a few variations of laying hamstring curls. There's a laying curl here that I actually honestly I think my favorite laying hamstring curl might be the hammer strength one with the round pad instead of like the flat static one. I've been liking that one a lot. One of the other gyms I go to has it. I always end up doing it. But it's either that laying curl or these ones are pretty good too. There's a seated one. Now, anatomically, there is a bit of a difference in terms of the movement, but I wouldn't freak out too much. As long as you bounce around between seated and laying, you're fine. I'd be more concerned with your actual intensity. So I'll probably grab some guys to help me do some assisted reps at the end of failure. And then hamstrings is kind of basic for me. I think that I'm training hamstrings pretty well. I can hit some hard sets of hamstring curls, heavy, light and squeezing, some tempo reps, some alternating stuff too. And then I'm going to add a lot more hip hinging work to my hamstring days. That's the RDLs. Well, actually, that's pretty much it, just the RDLs. Not necessarily because I don't think that doing hamstring curls will give me a pump. I know it has, but it's going to be in your best interest to train whichever muscles you're trying to grow in every pretty classic sort of loading style that you have available. Guys with a big chest don't only do chest pressing, they also do chest flying. They hit in different ways. Same thing with back. They don't just do rows, they do lat pull downs, they do fucking shrugs, they do everything in between, they do pullovers. Leg extensions, sure, it smashes my quads. Is it the same sensation as a leg press? No, I don't think so. So that's where I'm beginning to get get a little bit more. I don't know if I want to say like smart per se, but I'm trying to improve the training. So I'm not necessarily going to notice any results from that right now because I'm dieting down. As crazy and badass and awesome as this lift is going to be, it's not going to result in any quad growth. It's not going to result in any meaningful hamstring growth. Maybe a tiny, tiny bit because I'm in a deficit. So the point of this workout is just to maintain my strength and my size so that when I start to bulk up and I've peeled off as much body fat as I want to, then I'll be lean enough to start a proper bulk. But that doesn't take away from the value of the workout itself and having gone through it. So even if you're dieting down, don't take your foot off the fucking gas, man. You should still be trying to train. I mean, my approach to the training, it does not change at all from bulk to cut. Like I see comments where it's like, is this a good drying out workout? Like, is this workout meant for dieting? Like, is this going to lean out my arms? That's not how it works, And I could see how that could be thought because we always hear like trainers and fucking, let's just say not the most educated people talking about like, oh, well, this exercise is for toning. Like sir, could you teach me an exercise to tone my lower abs? No. You can stimulate a muscle. And then what you do outside of the gym will determine the result of that stimulation. So I'm about to wreck my quads. And to put that into more scientific terms, I'm about to stimulate my quads. Now, I'm not eating in a bulk. I'm eating in a deficit. So what my body's going to do with the amount of fucking food and energy that it has on hand, or I guess, in body, it's going to say, all right, let's recover the damage done. It's not really going to have the facilities to build any more muscle just because look, if you're in a deficit, you're not growing, but you can maintain your size and strength. So my body's going to say, all right, let's fucking heal these quads up, keep them big or keep them the same size and just move on with their day. That's kind of the end goal of the lift. If you kind of follow what I'm saying there. So some RDLs, some hamstring curls, and then quads. Quads is to be determined. Quads is to be determined. I'm not even sure how the quad day is going to look exactly, but I know I'm going to start on leg extensions for two reasons. One, it makes my knees feel better to do a few working sets on the leg extensions before getting into pressing. If you squat and your knees are really fucking tender, I can tell you why. It's because they're not warmed up. So if you hang out on the leg extension for a little bit, maybe do a couple of working sets there, as long as that's not also hurting your knees anymore, then for me, that works as a perfect warm-up. And then also, I mean, I still squat really heavy, but I'm kind of following the logic of making the weight feel heavier without going heavier, you know? So I'm sure if I tried to stay as fresh as possible, warm up my quads, and do like a Smith machine set of squats, I could probably get some pretty serious weight moving around. But I'm reaching a point of strength where it's just not necessary for the bodybuilding style of training that I'm doing. You know, do my quads seriously care if I squat 6 plates on the Smith, or if I do 3 plates to, like, as long as both sets hit failure? I'm not inclined to think so, you know? And when I'm dieted down, that's when I'm in my most compromised state. So I still like doing really heavy sets like that. And as long as I feel comfortable and safe and I know I'm going to be able to handle it, I am still going to do it. But by doing a few sets of leg extensions first, pre-exhausting my quads a little bit, I don't have to go so heavy, you know. And anybody who's like, Sam, you're lifting way too much heavy. You don't have to use that much weight. You're destroying your joints. You're not wrong. Well, you're not completely right either. What I mean by that is, yeah, definitely going too heavy for too long without enough resting in between and recovery. If you continue to fucking degenerate your tendons and your joints and everything else, that's not something that's just going to come back. You know, if you get a muscle tear and it's not too wild, honestly, you don't have to do anything. If you just back off for a while and let it kind of heal up on its own, you can be back to normal and you never know the difference. But, I mean, let's say I'm doing a bit crazy banana set of squats. Knock on wood, you know, don't end up like the Motor City Madman, and you pull your shit seriously hard. Yeah, you could completely wreck yourself for the foreseeable future. So that's where I'm trying to work on my not hurting myself in my training approach, which I think I'm getting better at. The longer I lift, the better of a ability I have to estimate, like, okay, I think this weight is going to be reasonable for a good set, versus, all right, I know it would probably be cool to lift this much weight for this many reps, but do I think I'm going to rip my quads off? Well, maybe I shouldn't do it. You know, it's hard to regret maybe I shouldn't do this, and then everything ends up honky-dory. It's pretty easy to regret, fuck it, I'm going to go for it anyway. Boom. Catastrophic injury, right? Not ideal. Not ideal for anyone of any age, demographic, or gender. So let's park this thing, get hyped up for legs. I've been listening to a lot of fucking metal recently. I'm talking of a variety of genres. You know, when you say metal, it kind of means a lot of things. A lot of Dance Gavin Dance, a lot of Breaking Benjamin, and then everything else in between, which I'm sure I'm going to keep listening to today on full fucking volume. But let's get started. I think a light alternating set of these standing curls will be a perfect start. When I say light, I mean light. Like, I'm really just trying to do squeeze, back down, squeeze, and back down, pretty much until failure. No. No more. Not necessarily the highest concentrates. I can't even fucking talk right now. Let's do one more. Oh man. Okay. Let's move on. Not a bad 2 sets though, by fucking no means. I think a light set of RDLs would be good. Yeah, just 2 plates. I did 3 last time, and sure, I got some hamstrings, but I was feeling a lot of glutes and lower back too. My one of my, well, not an argument against RDLs, but kind of an internal monologue I have is, okay, I don't want to fatigue my lower back before squats. So I think I need to do a weight for RDLs, which is enough to be a good working set, but isn't so much that I'm working my lower back, my fucking glutes, my whole posterior chain. I'm only trying to isolate my fucking hamstrings. Nothing more. Oh, yeah. Oh, not bad. A few more. Now I'm just kind of curious to see how my hamstrings look when I do these. Okay. One more. Oh yeah. Oh. Yeah, definitely feeling the hams after that one. I know it looks silly to like get to the top, finish the rep, and then actually do it. So the logic there is I'm trying to just use my hamstrings. And once they're cooked, just to just to re-rack it, use a little bit of glutes lower back. But let's get some curls going of some variety. All right, so here's a little something that I think needs to change with my hamstring training that I am trying to work on. And that's sort of just the fucking style of how these reps are done, you know? Like, based on my bro science knowledge, all I ever hear thrown around with hamstrings, fast twitch muscle fibers. So for me, to throw the stack around for really quick reps, that's kind of the easy part. Like, that's just a quick sets of failure, but I don't think it's as stimulating as these slower, more painful ones. Now, that's not for every muscle group across the board, but my hamstring training, even if that's not the case, I know that it's gotten stale because I've been doing a lot of just heavy, quick reps. So hamstrings, I do want to try to change it up a little by way of, for one, adding some more hip hinging volume like those RDLs, and then also some slower, more controlled hamstring curls, burning out with like if this is a dumbbell curl, I'm talking grabbing the 30s, slow, rather than the fucking 70s, quick and hard. Just because I think I've stimulated my hamstrings as much as I can with that approach, and now I want to kind of get some more slow, fucking torturous style going. And even if that's not any better, as long as they're still hard sets, I know they're going to start growing. Ugh. Oh yeah. Oh. One more like that, and I think that might be it. So you won't have to do anything till the end.
Yeah, I got you. Oh, this right here.
Thanks. Three more. Oh yeah. Ah. No. That's perfect. Thank you.
Is there?
Oh. All right. Hamstrings are done. Get some assisted reps. That's my quote for the day. Get an assisted set. You'll love it. Well, let's move on to legs or quads. All right. So I do not want to go insanely heavy today on these, at least not for this first working set. So instead, I've picked a moderate weight, a little less than half the stack, and I'm gonna do single side. Like I'm gonna do one leg at a time, but kind of alternate. This might just be my OCD kicking in, but I feel like if I do single-sided movements, if I do the whole right leg first and then the whole left leg, if my next set is a double leg sort of something, then my left leg will be a little weaker because it got worked more recently than this one. So that may not be something that really matters. It's just kind of, sometimes that makes me do sets like this instead, where I do 10 reps on the right side, 10 on the left, 10 on the right, 10 on the left, back and forth. So I still get the single-sided tension of doing one leg at once, but I get to do them both at once. So that at the end of the set, I get to just sit, not have one arm or one leg be a little more fatigued than the other. But let me get a song going and just hit fucking play. Left leg first since it's weaker. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. One more. A little heavier. Okay. My quads already feel wrecked. And they're pumped. And they're warm. Exactly like I wanted to get out of those 2 sets. Ugh. This is quite the strange setup. We're usually used to fucking a million plates. No. Let's change it up. 2 plates. AMRAP. Hopefully this will be fucking bananas. And also, for one thing, I want to try this kind of set. But I can tell my lower back's a little fatigued. Like, not like hurt-wise, but I can tell I'm a little tender. Because I've been doing heavy squats back to back to back. Maybe I should, I'll see what happens. For a long time, I've done heavy leg days, like heavy squats. And then the next day, it was a little more leg extension, sissy squat focused. So maybe an alternating style like that will be a good approach. Regardless of the way you do it, though, fucking go hard. Honestly, that's my main fucking piece of advice to anybody. But let's pick a good song and go crazy. Okay. Holy crap. Let's do one more like that. My hands are getting fucking numb. I probably could have done a few more. Actually, no, I definitely could have. But I stopped it because I was starting to feel a lot of glutes. I'm just trying to wreck my quads with these. But holy crap. Okay. Let's keep spamming these fuckers. God dang. Okay. Let's go back to leg extensions. Jesus Christ. That's enough for today. Well, nearly enough. So as the finisher, which I definitely think that this is going to be the finisher. If I feel like I need to do one more set after, I will, but I think this will be it. Plan 5 reps on either side, alternating, like I did in the beginning, but this is just much lighter weight. So I'll go back and forth 3-4 times, however many it takes to feel like I'm pretty much as cooked as I can get. Then immediately jump up, scurry over in between these two machines, hold on to here and here for balance, and then do arm assisted or self-assisted sissy squats, which are fucking awesome as a finisher. I get an insane quad stretch after already being fatigued from the leg extensions. So I feel like I'm just siphoning blood into my quads. And the nature of holding on to this shit like this means as I do these reps, it's not like sissy squats on a Smith machine or a hack squat, because I can give myself assistance by kind of pulling on the machines. So this is like really a triple phase set. Phase 1, leg extensions. Phase 2, sissy squats. Phase 3, assisted rep sissy squats, where I'm pulling myself up and, assisting my quads. But let's just hit this shit and find some lighting to pose down. That's it. Okay. Holy crap. Let's go drop trowel. Fuck. Okay. Some nasty squats. Some nasty hamstring curls. Some RDLs. That's a good leg day. That's a leg day where I can sit down and pose down like I am right now and say, yippee. Yippee. So let's see how we're looking. And yeah, I'm not lean enough where those RDLs are too cool looking in terms of hamstring separation. But I still like lifting covered up. This is the treat at the end. I feel like, and maybe I just overthink this for some reason, but while I'm working out, I don't want to be distracted and worried by how pumped I look, because that can change pretty drastically. Like the amount of veins that I've got visible in my quads right now, depending on how hydrated I am or just how much sodium intake I've got, or just any variety of factors, that can change. And if I'm trying to look at that and like focus on that during the workout, I feel like it's just going to distract me, I don't want to be concerned with like, okay, how am I looking? How am I looking? How am I looking? Like during the workout, I want to be most concerned with like, okay, how does this all feel? And then at the end, I get to see the end result, which is also kind of cool because it builds the whole workout. It builds the whole workout up to this kind of fucking hype moment right here, the pose down. Let's Let's just totally cut off the face, do a real leg zoom in here. So you tell me. Oh shit. Yeah, that's a fucking set of legs, all right. Oh, I didn't even do a breath hold. Let me hold my breath. Holy shit. That's fucking cool. Yeah. Okay. Dude. That first shot, just the hands on hips flex. Yeah. That is what I call a diet that is fucking working. Let me get one more zoom in here. Oh my God. Whew. I'm getting lightheaded even just from sitting here holding my legs flexed that much. So let's sit and have a little one-on-one. So those sets of fucking squats, those were cool. I want to get some more in like that more often. Not only because, I mean, actually, not, the main reason is just to change it up, you know? The amount of stimulus and activation I'm going to get from one set of crazy heavy squats and then moving on, I think that's a good set. But I got to change my shit up, you know? I don't want to make my training too stale. And I know that I'm going to have leg days where it's like mainly leg extensions, and I'm not going to do as much heavy pressing. But I definitely want to do a very stimulating workout every time, right? I'm not so concerned with making sure that my workout style is absolutely perfect, but as long as I bring the intensity and I change it up, I know that I'm going to grow. So that's where I think the bringing the intensity side of things, that's 60% of it. And the changing things up, that might be closer to 40, 30%, you know? So even if this leg day was only leg extensions and all I did was fucking 8 sets of leg extensions really hard as I fucking could, I'd have a good quad pump. But even with the lighter sets, I mean, light for my strength level of squats in the Smith machine, you're looking at it, that's a pretty badass fucking leg right there. Actually, let me see what I'm really working with here. Yeah. Every time I do that breath hold to try to get extra veiny, it's just making me fucking lightheaded. But plan now. For you, we're gonna get back in the car. I'm gonna stay and finish calves and adductors. Kind of basic shit, not really much to see. Also, I don't mind a little bit of me time after the lift. So let's, oh goodness. I'm gonna finish that up, then we can get in the car, get home, and have those 2 steaks. I'm really excited about those, and I'll explain why in the kitchen. All right, I lied. I'll show one of each. No. One tidbit before you start doing these: do not go too heavy too quickly. If you've never done the adductor machine, awesome machine. Your adductors should be worked. Crazy important stabilizer. My squats feel better when I do my adductors, but do not go too heavy too quick. You could totally fucking pull your groin like that, and then you're gonna have no fun. So I've warmed up to the stack. Okay. A few more. I'm gonna camp out here for a while. I've always been a fan of leg press calf raises. I just kind of feel a squeeze better. I don't know. But single leg, I'm just gonna spam these. Not too heavy. Good squeeze. You know, every other lifter buzzword under the sun. I'm gonna start with my left one, since my left calf is a bit behind the game. Or I guess it's better to say my right one's ahead of the game. But whatever. Okay. All right. I'm gonna camp out here for a while. Let's see how my calves look fully pumped, and then get out of here. Oh goodness. Oh my god. Yeah. I'm gonna camp here for a while. I'll just sit like this. You can just listen. One thing that I don't want you to. Okay, this feels too silly. Let me sit down like normal. Oh, goodness. There we go. Yeah, not face to face. Come on, we got some eye contact. No. Do not be afraid and do not be discouraged by the repetitiveness of any aspect of working out. Because that's where the gold lies, man. You know, there's nothing fancy, there's nothing special to be gained by doing a completely new, innovative, like, well, I'm looking at it from outside the box kind of workout. Every workout that you come into the gym to do. And it's not even possible. There's just not that much shit to do. So, if anything, you got to somehow rewire your brain to get excited about just doing the same shit over and over again. And I'm not kidding, you kind of do have to have a little bit of a rewire, a little bit of soldering action in your cranium, because I mean, I understand why it could be boring. I'll hear people, fucking Olympians, ex-Olympians, not me personally, but seeing videos, and they're like, yeah, I've never been a huge fan of hitting arms. It's just, you know, it's all curls and push downs. It's just this. I'm like, yeah, you're not wrong, but if anything, just try to look at it from the positives, man. I don't have to think about too much doing these calf sets. I'm going to sit here for like 5 or 6 more. I don't have to think about like, okay, which machine should I do? Oh, is it open? How's it going to feel? All I got to do is kind of sit here and fucking pump them out. Well, pump my calves up and then go post down at the end of it, right? In a way, it's not going to hurt you to just sort of turn your brain off in a sense and purely focus on just pushing every set as hard as you can, you know? And that's easy for me to say, you know? That is very easy for me to say because I've been doing this for years and I'm used to it, you know? So don't think that I don't want you to think that I'm like, why can't you guys just work out every day? Why can't you guys just count all your macros instantly? What's wrong with you? Like, that is not what I'm trying to say at all. It is easy for me to say because I've been doing it for so long, I'm used to it. So if you're not used to that, if you're not used to a serious training routine day, like all year straight, you don't have to be discouraged by the fact that you're not there yet. But making small steps towards being proficient, in this case at lifting, that's where your real energy should be putting into. You know, so if you know, let's just look at the nutrition label for a minute. Okay, 20 grams of protein. Well, I'm a 180-pound dude. Everybody keeps saying I should get about a gram per pound of body weight. Let me just try to hit my protein today. That could be the start of the next Mr. Olympia right there. Just reading the fucking protein bar on like on a Quest ice cream, nutrition facts, whatever. Don't take that for. I can't even. I'm so carb depleted. I can't even think. Let me finish calves. Let's go post down and then we can get in the car. There we go. A real fucking calf check. Nothing else. I feel like I'm a goddamn grown up on the peanuts right now. So let's roll these. I was about to say sleeves. Let's roll these pant legs up. Take a quick look and get out of here. I have been here for quite a while, which I have no problem with. I fucking love the gym. You know that. So, there we go. Let's see. A little front, a little bit of something or other. So that's kind of the look we're getting from the front. Not bad at all. Definitely not by my fucking standards. Let's see, how are they? Oh, that's pretty fucking beefy. How about this one? Yeah, same thing. Do a little bend forward, see if I can actually see them both at once. Oh, yeah. Oh. Calves. For me, calves are not a weak point. Calves are not something which I'm seriously, stressing about. But, like every goddamn muscle on my body, I want them to be bigger. Just for the coolness of it. If we're condensing this down to the real logic, that's pretty much it. But legs done. The gym's herd has thinned. Everyone's going back to their huts to rest and recover, which I need to do. Let's get out of here. And with that, today was incredibly fucking successful. Let's do a little bit of a macro check. I have not eaten that much food in a good way, which is crazy for me to say. Usually I'm like, all right, I got 3,000 more calories left. No, this is sweet. Yeah, 1,200. Very cool. That consisted of the oatmeal I referenced earlier, and then my post-cardio meal, because I did my cardio kind of late in the day. Not necessarily something that I would recommend as diet friendly, but it was 30 grams worth of protein, slightly questionable. I still think a decent source, but slightly questionable. 40 grams of fats and 90 grams of carbs. That was my first meal of the day. So does that sound that crazy? 30 grams of protein, 40 of fat is pretty high. That's actually a lot. And then 90 grams of carbs. 840 calories. That is a big meal. But I saved it for a little bit later in the day. That was 3 cheeseburgers from McDonald's as a snack. As what some of you guys might refer to as a cheat meal. But you know what? I don't think so, Like, let me tell you what I think a real cheat meal is. Okay? A cheat meal, or a cheat day, when I think of a cheat day, that means that you have overshot your calorie goal by a crazy amount. I'm trying to only eat 2,500 calories for the day. So if I ate 5,000, that's a cheat day. That is not good. I just cheated. Literally cheated myself. Right? That sucks. But if I have meals that are like sweets, if I fit some sweets into my macros, or if I get fast food, if I stop and get like a spicy chicken sandwich from a certain restaurant that I love, then guess what? That's not a cheat day. That's not a cheat meal. That's just a meal, And that's one of the benefits that I like of being able to actually track your macros is every meal doesn't have to be the same. They don't all have to be conventional, like bodybuilding style, rice, chicken, broccoli. I can still fit some treats in there. Now, trying to diet on junk food, it's just not going to work. It's not going to. I mean, it would technically work, right? If I ate 2,500 calories only of like fucking Funyuns or whatever trash, yeah, I'm still going to get leaner. Probably not going to feel so good, and that's just because a lot of basic, what you call kind of trash, unhealthy foods, junk foods, they're very quick to digest. I'm talking simple carbs, simple sugars, sweets. And what's going to happen is, for me, if I were to go home right now and eat like 100 grams of carbs worth of Skittles or fucking gummy bears or just whatever, then I'm going to have a crazy fucking big fluctuation of my blood sugar. You know, it's instantly going to spike, and then I'm instantly going to have a massive insulin, well, insulin release, insulin spike, and then my blood sugar is going to crash. That's why when guys go on carnivore, when guys start doing keto and they actually do it, they're like, wow, my energy levels are so stable. It's because your blood sugar isn't fluctuating all fucking willy-nilly all day, right? That's the main sort of fucking cause of having really weird energy levels, energy fluctuations, is when your blood sugar bounces around like fucking crazy. So when I'm dieting down, eating, more kind of conventionally, at least non like hypoglycemic or hyperglycemic foods, like oatmeals, like breads, like actually that's really the main kind of carbs I've been doing, oatmeals and breads. Sometimes I'll do some been doing a lot of like keto breads and stuff with high fiber, and even then those carbs are not like sugars. That makes it very easy for me to diet down, because for one thing I get stable energy levels throughout the day, and where's the and I have stable hunger levels throughout the day as well. Any fucking any name brand guy who talks about dieting would agree with me here. Eating foods that make you feel full for longer and don't spike your fucking blood sugar, that's the stuff that you really want to be focusing on when you diet down. So a really solid meal for me right now, steak, oatmeal, steak, or like some potatoes, not a ton of them of course, right, but enough where it's going to fit in my macros, a 500 calorie meal of something like that, not too much sugar. That's what I'm aiming for. Now, if I need to just fucking quench my sweet tooth, yeah, I'm gonna be able to have sweets, but I've got to pay the price for it. If I like if earlier today I wanted to have a few scoops of ice cream out of the freezer, I could track it. I just had 50 grams of carbs, 20 grams of fat, maybe 3 grams of protein from the cream or whatever. Yeah, that's still fine. That's totally manageable with a fat loss context. But it is going to make me kind of have an appetite spike later on, which is something that you're going to have to deal with. So the nature of dieting, if you actually want to do it for real, you will just end up backing off on your kind of junk food intake, purely due to the fact that it's just not conducive with your dieting goals. But you can still have some, and it's not going to completely derail you. The only thing that I think derails anybody from consistent fat loss is when you start overeating. If you start eating too many calories too often. I don't want to make this a complete calorie talk, but I'll see a lot of comments where it's like, okay, what if I just have one cheat meal every week? What if I just have one cheat day a week? Am I still going to be on track? Look, man, it's you're kind of losing the point, right? The whole point of dieting is you're dieting, right? So if you're in a solid deficit for a week straight, and then you totally open the floodgates and you eat 5,000 calories that next day, which even for somebody who's of a smaller stature than me is not unfeasible. If you've gone a week on a calorie deficit uh, and you don't have kind of a little bit of a tougher mind to be able to handle it, it would not be difficult to have a 5,000 calorie cheat day. And I'm not talking like across the whole day. I mean like in just 30 minutes in the fucking kitchen, going ham, just snacks, crackers, chips and dip, bread, sandwich. Like, if you really let loose, you can eat a lot of food at once, which unfortunately can completely derail your fucking dieting progress. So, I'm not going to say you can't have a cheat day or a cheat meal, but the main fucking indicator of whether what you're doing is working or not is the scale. The scale doesn't lie. The scale doesn't have political bias. The scale isn't going to judge you. All the scale is going to do is tell you how heavy you are, and it's not going to fucking lie, assuming you have an accurate scale. So, if you're losing a consistent pound, 2 pounds, maybe even 3 pounds a week if you're dieting like seriously crazy, probably 1 to 2 pounds is a more reasonable deficit to be in. But if you're losing a steady 1 to 2 pounds a week and you can see that trend line, you're good. Keep going. But if that trend line starts to flatten out, and in the worst case scenario, you start to actually gain weight, then that means one of two things. One thing mainly, the second thing a little bit, right? That one thing is you're eating too much food, right? You're given if you're a cat, your owner's giving you 2 scoops per day instead of 1, right? You're starting to gain weight. I don't know, I made that, whatever. So you're eating too much. If you're gaining weight, you're eating too many calories. So if you want to get back into a fat loss state, you're going to want to cut your calories down. And that's where tracking your calories is, it's fucking paramount. There's no way to get around it. And whether you're, doing like actual meal prep and you've got a coach telling you what to eat, he's still calculating your macros. You just don't have to deal with the numbers because the meals are already made for you. If somebody is giving you like 4 meals a day, 200 grams of rice, 100 grams of cooked chicken, 80 grams of broccoli, that's just calorie tracking. It's kind of been simplified to just an amount of food per meal. So that's where you got to kind of lock it in, man. And something that is going to help you do that, right? There's 2 things that kind of combine, which are going to result in either fat loss or fat gain. And they're kind of, they play together quite nicely, right? Eating less food and being more active. If you can do both of those things at once, consistently, nothing's stopping you. You have absolutely nothing stopping you. And when you do them both at once, that's just the best case scenario. So that's where, if you're a guy who wants to get a little bit leaner, you should really be listening when I say that cardio is going to help you do that. Because that's what that's going to do is throughout the entirety of the day, when you add in that even just 30 minutes of steady state cardio, nothing crazy, even just a fucking brisk walk, right? Your body is going to burn more energy. So what that means is if you don't eat any more food, but your body's burning more energy, it's going to have to use that energy and get that energy from somewhere. And if it's not coming from the food that you're eating, then it's going to come from your fucking internal energy storage tanks, which primarily and for the most part is the largest, right? It's your fat tissue, right? It's your gut, it's your love handles, it's that bit of back flab that you got floating around in the back. We've all got it. I've got the most I'm definitely on the leaner side of things, but especially when I get bulked up, I store most of my body fat in my lower back, sides, butt, and legs. That's kind of a classic guy distribution, So that's where it's at, man. And the only way to get rid of it, apart from fucking liposuction, which is fucking kind of weird. Don't just diet. You don't have to do that. Is track your macros. Be it toughen up a little bit, learn about diet. It's going to benefit you in more ways than fucking one, right? It is going to benefit you in more ways than one. What are you going to do if you fucking took your car to the gas station and it's meant to take 87 unleaded and you fill it up with diesel, right? Odds are you're probably eating some weird shit. And if you look into your diet a little bit more closely, and you'll learn about like how much protein you should be eating and like what fats you should maybe try to avoid. When I look at the label of anything and I see trans fats, I say, "Ooh, I better back off." Now, I know I just contradicted that because I went to McDonald's today, but there are things which are just straight up bad for you, and you're going to want to kind of stay away from. So that's my main point there. But something that I know is going to be good for me to eat is 1 pound of steak. So let's cut to the kitchen, get into the process of cooking those 2 little fillets up, which I'm really fucking excited about. Let's just say I'm a hungry camper. So let's get in there. Here we are, the final meal of the day. Let me kind of run you through the process. So this is the best way that I know how to make a steak. Be it a fancy pants fillet, a flank, a top round, a ribeye. It really doesn't matter. Any kind, right? You got to buy a sous vide, things like $80. put this raw steak, you don't have to season it or anything, into a Ziploc bag. You know, look it up, make sure that whichever bag you're using is sous vide safe. You know, because you are kind of cooking something in plastic. It's got to be something that's not going to totally leach too many microplastics. I mean, you probably already have 1,000,000 particles per liter floating around your bloodstream anyway. But make sure you're using, I mean, any branded Ziploc. It's probably fine. Worth looking up though. You know, but whatever. 130 degrees. I was doing 127.5. Little low, but more than enough, right? If you ask your dad what he likes his steak cooked to, and he sticks a meat thermometer into it when he goes on the grill to check if it's done, he's usually looking for about 130, right? So the logic with the sous vide is you cook it in its entirety, so it's all perfectly cooked, right? It's all perfectly pink, but there's no sear, there's no crust, there's no nothing kind of fancy. Like when I pulled that shit out of the bag, it just looked like a gray fucking mess. But the basic premise is step one, take it out of the bag, straight onto a paper towel, pat dry, salt, pepper, hot pan, avocado oil so it doesn't smoke up my kitchen too bad. If you try to get olive oil ripping hot, yeah, guess what? 5 minutes later, you're going to have the smoke alarms just freaking out. But only 1 minute on either side, pretty much as hot as you can go. And that's it. You know, there's no trick to it. And as shown, right, perfectly done. Perfectly fucking done. So this is going to pair quite nicely with a rather large cup of all my vitamins. I'm talking calcium, multivitamin, my fish oil. I've been doing the creatine capsules instead of the creatine powder, just because I'm already taking a whole mouthful of fucking vitamins at the end of the day anyway. What's 4, you know, little things of creatine, right? You know, it's not too much. So this is the sucky part. This is the cool part. I'll do the nasty part first. It's a few too many for just one big gulp. You know, so when it comes to the vitamins, though, you should be a little tricky about it. Like, you should look up. I mean, there's a million fucking lists online and YouTube videos. Just best vitamins to take for bodybuilding, for muscle building. It'll give you a solid list. Now, be a little bit cautious because some of them are just going to be a waste of money. Because a lot of the times these vitamins are, you know, if you look at the labels, it's like, oh, 2,000% of your daily recommended allowance of magnesium. The reason that there's so much is because it's not like insanely bioavailable in the forms of these kind of vitamin concentrates, you know. So magnesium citrate might be a bit more absorbent than magnesium. I don't know what the other kind is, you know, whatever. Like anybody who's really maximizing their magnesium intake, they do it as a cream, you know. And the B12, like the B12 complex, that's in the cupboard too. You know, guys are doing B12 injections to get the maximum fucking absorption. So I'm not so crazy that I'm gonna be doing that every day. But, you know, I do make sure I hit everything. I got some carnitine in there. I got some NAC, a couple of other sort of, you know, organ support type shit. Which, if you're the guy who needs that, all right, that should be something you're doing, you know. The last thing you want to do is be stressing out your internal organs. Fast forward 10 years and say, ooh, I better start worrying about my health. Not good. Not cool. But this will put me at about pretty much the exact goal, 2,500 calories for the day, 250 protein, a little higher. These are definitely fatty, so that puts me at about 90 grams of fat for the day and more like 200 grams of carbs. I don't have my phone right on me, but that's what I want, you know? Next few days, maybe a week, maybe less, I don't know. I might just start the bulk on a fucking whim, but I am this lean pretty rarely, so that's kind of making me say, just do one more week, get a little bit extra lean, a little extra cool looking, a little extra veiny, and then start bulking up, you know. But as soon as the bulk starts, there's no chance it's going to end until we're in the upper triple digits. I'm talking 280. I'm talking 300. All right. Maybe not 300. Maybe not exactly 300. But honestly, I'm being a little irresponsible right now because I was hungry. I was still going to shower. I probably should have showered first and then eaten my last meal, because it is much easier to go to bed right after eating your last meal than it is to eat your last meal, shower, fucking, play on your phone, do whatever. And then 2 hours passed since you had your last meal, and now it's time for you to go to bed. I mean, you're just asking for trouble, I know that there's some popsicles in the freezer. I, I know that there's some fucking treats in there and some little, like chocolate candies in the cupboard. So it's always in my best interest, at least from my kind of training diet experience, to try to make the last meal of the day as close to bedtime as possible. I've never noticed any problems with like my digestion or like it upsetting my sleep. Now I'm kind of tracking. It's kind of cool if you get a fucking sort of Fitbit style thing. It'll show you when you're like in REM and when you're in deep sleep or whatever else. Like, I haven't noticed any problems. But if that's you, if you can't sleep on a full stomach, then I guess you're kind of screwed. So, plan is sit here, enjoy, find my phone, play on it, watch a couple videos or something, go to bed and repeat. Hour cardio in the morning, really going to lock it in this last week, do a little bit of extra cardio for the finishing touches of the diet, and then open the floodgates calorie wise. Get used to this kitchen. We're going to be in here a lot. I'm talking meal prep. I'm talking rice cooker. I'm talking potatoes in the oven, like a whole tray of them. We're getting serious with this bulk. Best bulk so far, title to be determined. But that's all I got for the day. I'll see you tomorrow for chest. I'm already excited.